Once upon a time in Kunta Kinte, all the animals of Kunta Kinte needed to travel across the dark forest towards Timso as winter was approaching. Timso, being the warmest part of Kunta Kinte, had even the lushest of vegetation during winter. As all the animals of all shapes and sizes embarked on their journey towards Timso, it so happened that the cheetah, with lightning speed, ran ahead of the pack of animals and naturally became the lead. Behind the cheetah came the elephants. Behind the elephants were the giraffe, followed by the wild dogs, who were followed by the buck. Behind the buck came the birds, and lastly were the ants. The journey to Timsol was a long journey that would take 3 days to complete. During the first sunrise, as the birds were soaring up in the sky, they could see ahead of the pack because they were higher than everyone. They saw a big black hole in the front ahead towards where they were going. In panic, and as they flapped their wings coming down to tell the rest, "Danger! Danger! Be careful! There's danger up ahead," they said. In annoyance, the cheetah looked at them and said, "I am ahead of everyone. I see everything first because I'm the leader. There's no danger up ahead. Everyone must continue on the path," he said. Because he was the biggest of them all and the fastest and scariest, all the animals listened to the cheetah and forged towards Timsol along on their journey. All of a sudden, there was like a shaking sound as if the earth was moving. In panic, all the animals gathered around and tried to catch their bearing. As all the animals panicked, suddenly the tremor stopped and it was quiet. Confused and wondering what had just happened, the animals looked around and looked at each other. In shock, they noticed that the numbers had decreased and some of the animals were missing. They looked around, and right there they saw the black hole that the birds were talking about. Inside the black hole, they saw the animals that were trapped, trying to claw their way up towards the opening and trying to get out of the big hole. "No one can go in that hole, it's too deep, and come back out," the cheetah roared. As he said that, he turned on his heel and continued running towards Timsol. Everyone was in shock and disbelief. With their tails between their legs, they continued and followed the cheetah. They continued on the journey. As they continued along the path, as the darkness started to fall, the elephants, being the biggest of the animals, started to feel hungry and complain about their hunger. Their stomachs were growling. "We should have listened to the ants when they said we should pack food and water before we embark on the journey," they pondered. Yes, all the other animals said in unison. In that moment of regret, they remembered that the cheetah had said a vicious, "No one is taking food. It will slow everyone down and everyone needs to be fast," was the reason they did not carry any food. As they continued through the journey and the darkness was falling and it became really dark, the cheetah started to notice that they were not anywhere near to where they wanted to go. He started picking up the pace, traveling faster and faster to get to Timsol in time. As they were traveling, the monkey started to notice that the animals were getting very tired and sluggish and slowing forward movement. The monkey suggested to the cheetah, "Maybe you should let them rest along the banks of the forest where the grass is lush." "No," said the cheetah, "we have no time to rest, and I have resting times pinpointed along the journey. They will rest when I say they must rest." The monkeys, noticing that they will not make it far, were very concerned by the cheetah's response. But because he was the leader and no one dared argue with him, they followed the cheetah and continued on their journey. As they were going on their journey, and the cheetah looked around and he was like, "Why are we so far behind? Why are we not where we're supposed to be at this time?" He roared back to the animals. Because you're exhausting us. We're all tired. We need rest, water, and food, they said. "We are as slow as the tortoise now because of exhaustion," the animals cried. Angrily, the cheetah said to them, "You better go fast because we need to get to Tinsel in time." Thump, thump, dish, dish was all you heard as the animals collapsed in their exhaustion. Without any warning, all the animals were lying flat on the ground, unable to move. It was only at this time the cheetah realized there was nothing he could do to continue the journey. They all had to rest. Luckily for them, they were close to a cave where they found their resting place. As the sun rose and the animals woke, they found food that the buck had collected throughout the night. They ate and refreshed and recharged and were ready to embark on the journey ahead. As they continued along the journey on the second day, the animals had picked up speed and the cheetah was happy that they were going at the pace that he required them to go. As they were traveling and traveling and traveling, the faster and faster the cheetah went. Then suddenly, "We smell fire! We smell fire! There's fire up ahead on the path!" shouted the wild dogs. Because of their sharp noses, they could already smell the fire from where they were. In a mocking tone, the cheetah turned around and said, "I am the leader of this pack. I am miles ahead of you, and there is no fire where I am. Everyone must continue going." Worried as they were, the animals did not challenge what the cheetah was saying. They continued on the path towards Tinsel. All of a sudden, they were encaved by flames, surrounding them, all around them, creating a circle behind the animals. As the animals huddled in between, scared, looking around, looking to find where the cheetah is, looking for the solution, how to get out of this problem. The only ones that were safe were the birds because they were soaring up in the sky away from the danger. As they looked for the cheetah, they couldn't see him anywhere. Then eventually they spotted him, far, far ahead, more than a mile away. He had far since passed the area of the fire. He passed the area way before the fire started, which is why he never saw the fire, which is why he's not in the fire. He wasn't exposed to the fire. As panicked and worried as all the animals were, looking around, they didn't know what to do. The cheetah realized in panic and shock that he had no idea what to do. I'm sorry, he shouted from far. "I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know how to get you out of the danger," he shouted. Splish, splish, splish. All of a sudden, water came splashing from the skies as if the sky opened up and rained on them to extinguish the flames. Confused as to where the rain came all of a sudden, the cheetah looked up and realized that the birds were dropping water that they had collected from a nearby river that they had seen as they were soaring the sky. It was at that very moment where the cheetah realized With shock evident on his face, it dawned on him that although he's the fastest, he does not know the most. Although he's the fastest, he won't always have the answers. Although he's the fastest, the best solution will not always come from him. As the wild dogs looked at him, they smirked and thought, "Hey, how the mighty has fallen," they thought to themselves. It was at that very moment where the cheetah realized that he is surrounded by a vast variety of animals, each one with its own strong point, each one with something to offer the whole tribe that is more influential than the rest. As he sat there and looked at the animals, with relief washing all over him because they'd been saved from the fire, he realized that he needs to listen to all the animals. He can learn something from the birds as they are higher up in the sky and see further ahead than he could ever see. He needs to be reminded that the wild dogs have sharp noses and can smell scents that he could not pick up. He realized that because the ants are always underground during winter, collecting food for dry season is something that they know best. At that very moment, the cheetah realized that he is not an island, and every animal in this kingdom has something to share, something to teach.